Hello everyone, and normally tonight would be a Sims 3 night, but and last stream was potentially the season finale, depending on how the poll turns out. Which right now is looking like Christina is going to be the heir. Let me just. Alright, if anyone already here who hasn't wants to take a look at that poll, oh, the link is in chat. Basically, the I've got like a couple Sims related things I was thinking about doing tonight, which, first and foremost is, the topic that's kind of at the forefront of Sims right now, which is the Behind the Sims Summit from earlier today. Most of the news didn't really interest me until like the very end because I don't play The Sims 4 or any of the mobile versions. Like, it's nice that the mobile versions are getting nice things. And I think Project Renee is probably a like a, the direction Sims 4 the direction that the Sims, not necessarily the specific direction needs to be hanging, the franchise needs to be hanging, but certainly will help it not risk being completely overshadowed by a little indie title called Paralives. Because like I feel like Sims 5 is pretty much the make or break for this entire franchise potentially. Because like so much of the game's like long-term fans have been like myself. Well, although granted, I only started like partway through the Sims 3's run, but part of that was because for the longest time I didn't have a computer that could run any Sims game more advanced than The Sims 1. Which I played around with a little bit. It being the one opportunity I had to play The Sims until I was able to convince my parents to get a new computer that actually supports, the advanced shaders needed to be able to run 2 and 3. Because unfortunately, like, we bought a graphics card to upgrade the old one, and then it didn't work. Which that computer is now like the computer that was the initial upgrade from the old one that couldn't run anything that needed even like 2009 era 3D graphics, and was still in use in like at least the early 2010s, because like I want to say it was around 2013 when I got that other when I got the upgrade. Like, that became what became my first streaming computer as well. Well, is sitting behind me completely non-functional because for some reason it just doesn't want to power on anymore. But there's certainly it feels like they kind of looked at what Paralives is doing. It's like, huh, we should probably do that. If we don't want to, have things potentially end very badly. Mostly in terms of actually listening to their fans and not just they're not even investors directly in the game, because the entire reason Journey to Batuu exists is because of a contract between EA and Disney. But overall, I certainly feel like I was glad that it ended up only being a half hour, because I had maybe an hour to watch at the time that was happening. But honestly, I feel like it could have been shorter because they padded it out so much. But maybe I'm just not hip with what most simmers are into. And that's why I just didn't really feel like the entire dance sequence was necessary. When they hype the stream as being, all these big announcements, an entire section where there's no announcements happened, and it certainly feels like filler. Well, in all, I think Project Renee has potential if they actually do it right for once. If they do it well enough, I will absolutely play it. Just so long as it doesn't end up, like The Sims 4, feeling weirdly hollow. Honestly, my ideal Sims game would probably be bring in Sims 3's open world and open world and creative style and active careers. Where is it? Bring in Sims 2's Once and Fear system and Sims 4's overall art style and some of the more novel, not even necessarily directly the Sims 4's art style, but just one of the few nice things I have to say about the Sims 4 is that it looks nice. So like, like not even with, regardless of art style, bring in Sims 4's build tools and and like them like gender customization tools and stuff like that, and uh, and some of the more novel ways that they included elements of customization where they haven't really done before. Like I really like how in seasons you can create your own holidays complete with getting to choose a specific set uh, uh, of traditions for the holiday. Like that's very cool, especially if you could like expand on that and maybe add in, for instance, the ability to have you need to specify whether a particular sim celebrates a certain holiday. That way, for instance, if you wanted to have some sims do like a Christmas analog and some do a Hanukkah analog and whatnot, you could do that without the game mechanics trying to make all of your sims care about all of them at the same time. Which also this would require the ability to schedule multiple holidays for the same day, because otherwise what's the point in being able to have like maybe like have the option to have either holiday celebration be turned on either on the neighborhood scale or on a per sim basis. Alright, so now to get a bit more visual interest beyond just like overlay here. Here, let me grab. Alright, got something. Something Sims related. Give it more visual interest. Let me give us switch over to what browser capture. Alright, there we go. It's got a Sims 3 PAX tier list maker. So which I like the Katy Perry Sweet Treats as its own category below bad. let's just put Katy Perry Sweet Treats in its proper place. Alright, so first up, World Adventures. It's got nice features. I got all of the expansions in order, so it's the very first one I ever got. After playing with the base game for a while. I'm gonna say nice. Ambitions, on the other hand, I dare say that's pristine in my book, because primarily just because of the inventor. Because like Ambitions, the first expansion pack where I was genuinely excited to see oh, you can do all of this stuff in this expansion. And I also feel like I probably used stylus is probably also one of the skills I've used the most. Not skills, careers. Right, late night. And in vampires, and in nightclubs. Kind of raise some eyebrows. Having to get my mom to pick it up for me. She didn't even pick it up for me because I was there. Buy it for me in the store. Because you've got lady in skimpy bikini, lady in a hot tub on the cover. Little did she know how little of that was my reason to be interested in this entire pack. Honestly, I'm gonna put at least great each. Mostly just because of the aesthetics of Bridgeport. Alright, Generations. Absolutely pristine. It just does so much, especially for my way of playing the game. That honestly, I kind of wonder, maybe I should just go ahead and switch it on it, or have even had it on this entire time. I mean, for the random legacy. Which, I mean, the odds are fairly slim that we're actually gonna get a daycare professional at some point before Generation 10. Since Gen 10, we're free to just choose to have the heir be a daycare worker if we want. Right, pets. The only biggest thing holding it back from pristine is how extremely obnoxious the pets can be at times. Particularly with their tendency to react to things. And how that gets in the way of literally all ability to just deal with dirty plates. Because you nor your Sims can interact with the plate. When your dog is going through an entire little animation of freaking out about the fact that the plate exists. Alright, showtime. Yeah, honestly, I might actually bump late night down purely because of the fame system. Because fame is great in theory, but when just about every sim I play ends up becoming at least a fame leecher, it gets kind of obnoxious. Especially when by default paparazzi start showing up as soon as you have any amount of fame. But Sims gained enough fame that once a fresh new Sim has a few new skills under their belt, they're usually at least a fame leecher and are now going to get harassed by the paparazzi. If they just made fame a bit harder to acquire, then it wouldn't be so bad. But Showtime. Showtime adds all the active performance careers. I remember there being a bit of bugginess with those. Particularly because I could never figure out how to actually do the SimFests half the time. Plus all of them are just kind of combine these animations. And without even necessarily that much variety in activities. It's also I also found it kind of weird that performing is simultaneously a skill and a career, but it's a hidden skill. And because it works on the logic of a lot of the the usual active career, or of you can't you progress based on money earned is very much possible for your level in the career to outpace your actual level of skill. And I guess that could be interesting if it was a neat way to sort of represent skyrocketing in fame due to go promotion despite having absolutely no talent. I'm gonna say and also Like, it would have been great if it kind of been merged a little bit with late night. Mostly just for the sake of the singer and the fact that you can't be a singer in a band. Like, I mean, if you're gonna make singing a skill, at least make it count as an instrument skill for, well, for being in a band. Maybe even have more options than just guitar and only guitar for instruments you can play on stage. Which, I mean, you know, if it includes the like instrument and band stuff from late night, then they could have avoided that. Because I feel like one of the main reasons why it's limited to just guitars, because I'm pretty sure you've just got Showtime and you've just got Showtime and the base game. Guitars are all you've got, and that as far as instruments go. So I'm gonna place a nice, like, above, like, maybe above late night. No, actually, I think late night can be moved up above World Adventures, partly because, like, for one thing, it adds more stuff that's less of a specific niche. Like, I enjoyed, like, the martial arts skill, well, particularly because as I was big into the collecting aspect, and like, oh, I can just farm gems by breaking meteorite blocks. I'll go do that. Like, you know, late night does add all of those instrument skills as well. It's supernatural. No outstanding problems with it. Other than, like, you know, maybe the zombies can be a little annoying. So I'm gonna say, hey, you could probably go up into pristine. Seasons, I rarely play without it. University life. I say that's, like, university life, I believe, was first or one of the first expansions to be announced in the time since I had gotten The Sims 3. Like, I feel like it can get a bit repetitive after a while, so maybe put it in great above pets. Island Paradise. Honestly, kind of meh for the most part. Like, part of that's probably just because I've never been huge on, like, beaches and islands. like I'll watch like Wheel of Fortune, and it's all like the vacations they offer always seems so bland because it's, oh look, it's, you know, resort covered island number 47. What else is new? Like, you know, give me, like, if I'm gonna go on a game show and win a free trip, give me a trip to somewhere that, like, where, like, you know, the distinctive culture of the region is actually intact and not completely overshadowed by, by, you know, this massive resort that looks like all of the other massive resorts. Like, you know, why not change it up with, like, a trip to somewhere in Europe or something? I mean, or even go so far as to go to, like Asia or even Africa. Or even just to, like, South America or something. Particularly on a trip that's not focused solely on, like, the beaches. Alright, into the future. I love the concept. Kinda wish the future stuff wasn't so sort of obtrusive. Because, like I feel like some of the more outlandish futuristic styles could have been saved for, like, maybe sort of a specific pool of clothes that, you know, Sims would have to go to the future and unlock, and wouldn't just be available for any random townie that generates. You know, that would help keep the future feeling distinctive. You know, make it more clearly the future. Well, I mean, I guess, you know, once your Sims have been back and forth Earth of the future enough times, and, like, I guess you could argue that, you know, maybe some ideas from the future just kind of starting to leak over. Kind of wish it was easier to bring in, like, Zephyr to other towns. Because I am not sure if that's even possible. You probably have to at least, like, cheat to do that. Because I don't think any of the like, rabbit holes and whatnot required to include Zephyr are just readily available in build, buy, or edit town. The whole some of the, like, changing the future and, you know, some of the sort of opportunity based gameplay, you could say, kind of feels a little forced. So I'm gonna say it's great, but like right there. Alright, high-end loft stuff. Alright, let's add a row below. We can just kind of put most of these stuff packs and worlds down here. Well, I suppose I could like rank the worlds and whatnot based on just sort of the vibe alone. Alright, so that gets us down to town life stuff. Which I'm gonna say is nice, but not enough to put it above any of the expansions because, it doesn't add any real gameplay. I guess technically it adds laundry. Laundry, I think. At the very least, it adds stuff for laundry, so if you had that, just that in the base game, you would have laundry, but like, which I guess as that would be potentially a mark against ambitions too. It's just like, why add this entire system of just a mundane chore? That, especially when all it does is affect like one single mood lich. Alright, 70s, 80s, and 90s stuff. I appreciate some of the aesthetics, but it's kind of got some of the same problems as Into the Future. So I'm gonna put it like right in here. Because like I appreciate the aesthetics, just wish there weren't so much of them all of the time. Right, Riverview. It's nice for a free town. Dragon Valley. I'm gonna say, like, definitely good for like the medieval fantasy vibe. So I'm gonna put like right in here. The good medieval fantasy vibe. Honestly, in some ways, could have actually been better as a town for an expansion pack rather than just one from the store, because then, like, you could have had a new occult to represent these non-human Sims in town rather than just them, as far as the game is concerned, being humans that look weird. And could have better integrated the dragons into game mechanics. rather than mostly just being an item you buy. Midnight Hollow. Oh, and also, Nice said, ties in with Late Night a little bit in that, at the very least, if you buy the companion and venue, the Duke of Bo's Renaissance Fair, you get a violin. Midnight Hollow. Definitely enjoy the, like, store stuff, at least in theory. I've actually hardly end up using it. And absolutely love the vibe. So I'm gonna put it, like, right up here. Granted, like, the vibes kind of get in the way of visibility at times. I think. Finally, Roaring Heights. Honestly, mostly, like, I think I mostly just got this one entirely because, like, it was a neat concept. Probably would have been a lot better if it integrated more with late nights features, rather than being a standalone town designed to work with, any combination of expansions. So I'm gonna put it here in great. Let me just download that real quick. Apparently I can do an alignment chart. Oh, it's one of these. And I'm gonna see what other Sims tier lists I can make. Playing lots of Sims 4. New Sims 2 packs. I guess we could do that. Which, since I have the complete collection that they had available for free around the time that they were hyping up The Sims 4, or like I can easily I easily have some experience with all of these celebration stuff. I think that might actually be the one thing that may or may not have, not been in the... Because I'm not sure if I recognize any of those items. Right, seasons. big fan of seasons just in general, because, you know, it adds a lot to the gameplay. Hence why I rarely play The Sims 3 without it. Open for business. Played around with the business features a little bit. Haven't really gotten a good handle on them. But I'm not gonna let that hold open for business is back from being at least great. Right, university. Honestly, like Sims 3 kind of did university better. Like since it's basic, since a lot of the gameplay is basically just core Sims gameplay, but in a new location, and also you're harassed by mascots. It's kind of like the major system is one of the so the diversity of majors and the fact that like Sims actually have to declare a major rather than just having that set going in. Plus, you know, this kind of gets into why I would want and the like wants and fears of Sims 2 rather than either of its successors in my ideal little Sims game. Name a little bit is that Sims will actually desire like specific like majors. Which I mean, you usually like I decide whether I send a sim off to university based on will the like in Sims 3 based on will this benefit their lifetime wish, basically. Because like for one thing, the most they ever specifically wanted is to go to university. They never really get into the specifics of, oh, I want to study this. And like, you know, like for instance, I'm not gonna bother with university or the air for this generation because anglers nor resort owners benefit from that. Right, free time. I like what they did with the hobbies. And like I've played with Desiderata Valley quite a bit. I'm gonna say that that's at least in the upper tier of great. Right, pets. Does a lot of what the Sims 3 pets did, only without the minor obnoxious things. My main issues with it are, one, and like why can't my pets just woohoo on their own? Like, why do I have to have a sim awkwardly instruct them to do that? If I want to, have, like, puppies or kittens. And also, like, he, he, the specific, like, I love the training system, but the specific element of, oh, sometimes your dog just won't eat because you haven't taught it to enjoy kibble. So to get this dog that you cannot control directly, because controlling pets directly is exclusively a feature of The Sims 3. Which honestly, that's one of the things that... This is another case of The Sims 4 did little things in an expansion that are neat. If only the like foundations upon which all of it was built, well, were good. And that, like, they've got the uncontrollable pets, but they gave them a fair bit of, things to do. Like, having the whole system of actually having, like, a veterinarian, and being able to specifically spay or neuter your pets. Because, like, that is more accurate to the way pets tend to be than any Sims game has gotten before. The aspect of, if you don't spare near your pets, there is a chance that they will wander off somewhere and either, get a neighbor's pet pregnant or get pregnant themselves, depending on, what the animal is capable of. I'm gonna say, I'm gonna put pets there. Right, nightlife. Having downtown as an extension of the neighborhood rather than being its own thing, like in Late Night for The Sims 3. Definitely an interesting concept. Does it work for every neighborhood? I would say not, because like River Blossom Hills, it does not make sense for that to have like an expansive downtown area with like big buildings. So not even apartments, because that's that's apartment life that actually has apartments. And also kind of weird that pretty much every town has the exact same downtown. In fact, you know what? Speaking of that, I'm actually gonna bump University up a little bit. Just because of the novel concept of having multiple universities, rather than having just the one. Like, even Sims 4 manages to have two. Like, as much as, the default concept of it being downtown doesn't necessarily mesh with the feel of every town. The way I've ended up adapting it from time to time is basically it's the nearby town. Which honestly kinda, is influenced by my own experiences, living in a rural area and, having trips into town. The, like, a 35, 45-minute long drive to sort of the place where things are actually happening. So I'm gonna put nightlife there. Right, apartment life. You've got some nice features. One of the few towns where it actually super makes sense to include downtown. Although you'd think that would at least make sense for our strange town known Veronaville and Pleasant View. Which I guess it kind of does if you imagine it sort of as, sort of like this, like the main, urban area with the main neighborhood just being the suburbs. At least when it comes to Pleasant View. Because Pleasant View is kind of just generic suburbia. Whereas the other two have their more specific concepts. So I'm gonna put apartment life right there. Okay, Bon Voyage. Fortunately, because I have the complete collection, I don't have to worry about any of the bullshit that happened with Securom that kinda steered me away from The Sims 2 initially. Nice that has, which I mean, having multiple vacation spots isn't even anything new to the series because actually The Sims 4 kind of deviates from the pattern in that you get your multiple vacation spots or piecemeal. Thinking, you kind of don't have to have a dedicated vacation expansion with 3 different vacation spots for The Sims 4 because you can just go wherever. Honestly, I kind of end up not using it that much. And honestly, pretty much all of the... I'm gonna put Happy Holiday stuff specifically in nice because I think that's the one that adds Santa Claus and Father Time. So at least it has the novelty of adding more gameplay features than just is, oh, you've got all of these clothes and all these objects. Let's see, this is all still all Sims 4. Which you could do the Sims 2 Belladonna Cove Sims tier list. But honestly, like, so, who's Claire Siobhan? Like, I think I'm gonna do a tier list of Sims that. Ooh. A ranking of the Sims 1 DLC, but at the same time, I've hardly played any of them. I only had the base game. Do Sims 3 traits. Every Sims expansion pack. Oh, this is interesting. Full on. Like ranking of all of the expansions for every game. Although I've kind of already covered the ones I've actually played it already. Other than Sims 4 Seasons. Because that's it. Because I don't have any of the Sims 1 expansions. And the only expansion I have for The Sims 4 is Seasons. So if I did this tier list, I would have to avoid my usual qualification of have I actually played, the pack in question. Because otherwise, all of these and most of these would all be in the same tier. Do you know what? One thing I could do is, rather than just ranking them on like quality, maybe rank them on like how good they are at their particular sort of niche. It's like, you would have all the vacation ones in one category and all the job ones in another. All the partying ones in another list. Let's see. Same time, how do I categorize like live and large? I guess I'm gonna say like generations outranks live and large. I guess the question is also, do I put late night as a partying expansion or as a city living expansion? You know, I'm gonna say it's close. It's most reminiscent of nightlife. So out on the town, it's just sort of a broad category that includes get together and the variations on hot day, nightlife, late night, whatever you want to call it. Get to get together has some nice features because like I think clubs are a great concept. And some of those sort of novel customizable features that to me is kind of one of the Sims 4's main strengths. Nightlife. Also, I think it kind of ranks hot date. That can go in second place. I would say that, yeah, yeah, that works because late night adds vampires, whereas hot date doesn't. But nightlife and hot date both have the benefit of you don't have to like add an additional lot to your main town to be able to use their features. Because both have a concept of going downtown. Heck, I mean, The Sims 4 Get Together kind of has that going on. It's just as a main feature of The Sims 4 rather than exclusively a feature of the particular expansion. I somehow managed to open the help menu for my web browser. Alright, so here's kind of the situation is House Party doesn't really have specific like other or expansions that kind of did the same thing. Right, vacations. World Adventures, definitely up there. Honestly, in some ways, Sims Vacation. Kinda outranks it because like as a actual vacation expansion rather than as a pretend to be Indiana Jones for a few hours expansion. Because like, like you can't go on vacation and just normally with World Adventures, but one thing, chances are at some point during your trip you're going to get a phone call all from a local old being like, yes, please, foreigner, help me with my menial problem. Because, it's, or maybe even like, you know, root through this cultural heritage site in our town. I'm giving you permission. Like if you wanna just take some of those artifacts home with you, that's perfectly fine. Like when you think about it, it's kind of interesting that only Champsla Sims actually has a museum. Including artifacts from the other two towns in the expansion. Like, that, like, they're framed as being French, but that is a very British move. Just be like, yes, we have the only pre-made museum, and so that's where all of the artifacts for all three towns go in terms of pre-made museums, because there's only the one. Like what would be cool if they made they if sometime down the road they made sort of another World Adventures from like maybe from Project Renee. Like what if the artifacts work like the fossils in Animal Crossing, like you would actually go and donate them to the museum in the town you found them in. It's like over time each of these towns would have their own distinct museum filled with their own artifacts. Anyway, right. Pets. I've mentioned before, like Sims 4 kind of does some neat stuff with pets. Like again, a lot of the like one of the biggest flaws in the Sims 4's expansions has been just kind of the issue of the foundation they are working off of. Then say Sims 3 pets. Because I'm gonna say horses elevated a bit above Sims 2 pets. Then finally we've got The Sims Unleashed. Right. Fame. Or me. as as it may be written. Right, so Superstar or Showtime. And Get Famous all go in this. Get Famous has, the novel quality of, in some ways, treating celebrities like an occult. Don't know how easy it is to become famous. Superstar has the fun aspect of, like, so somebody at Maxis presumably was like, people are gonna want to do weird stuff with, these Sims of actual real life celebrities. Let's make it to where they can't. Let's nip that potential problem in the bud. Like, sure, the Sims 1 didn't really have like an expansive concept of woohoo. That was like I want to say that term didn't even exist until Sims 2. But like, you give people the ability to control, you know, the representations of celebrities. Somebody's gonna, put them in a ladderless pool. But also, a lot of ways I kind of enjoy. You know, I'm gonna rank them just by the fact that, just by like the amount of like actual like specificity they get into with the idea of, doing like show business stuff, this kind of stuff. Although, Get Famous is the first there's of now multiple instances of The Sims 4, including the concept of being a content creator. So, now I need to add another row. I'll call this one Magic. So we've got Making Magic, Supernatural. I guess we could arguably throw Apartment Life in here. Oh yeah, and Realm of Magic is a game pack. Yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and put Supernatural above Making Magic, and be done with that. Though, ultimately, I love the vibes of Magic Town. So now we've got university, because we're getting into things that The Sims 1 didn't do. So that's gonna be university, university life, and Discover University. Discover University does a lot of neat stuff with like representation of aspects of the actual like college experience, you could say. Since like it actually has a concept of things like student loans. But I mean, that's not exactly fun. And like the concept of having distinguished degrees is kind of neat. And extracurriculars that allow you to grant you skills. So I might actually put that like right in the middle. Alright, now business/jobs, I would say. Clear front runners, ambitions, probably followed by get to work and then. So yeah, ambitions also I like the ghost hunter and the investigator. It's like, yeah, I'm definitely satisfied with the fact that I put it like in like the top spot in that first tier list. You know, I'm gonna put it. I'm gonna put get to work at the end, and specifically because they made the investigator more explicitly copy. Like, I mean, you know, it's kind of like the Sims 3 investigator is kind of a weird spot because like some of it makes you sound like you're a private investigator, other times you're like a police detective because like you've got the ability to do low-level police work. But it's called investigator, whereas detective is a specific police term. But at the same time, a lot of the time your clients are just people around town. Which, I mean, of course, you know, being a T for teen game, the subject matter of the investigation can only get so intense. Right. Moving on. Seasons. So we've got seasons. seasons, and when you know it's seasons, I'm gonna say it's gonna be Sims 3, Sims 4, Sims 2, because like Sims 3 gives you a lot. One thing, it's the first one to do holidays as part of seasons. Also aliens, which I mean Sims 2 has aliens in the base game, so I guess that could be a point for Get to Work, is that it also has aliens. You know, I'll bump Get to Work up for the for specifically the science career. Like that counterbalances, you know, making the investigator more explicitly a cop. I would say. Like the big thing that Seasons is kind of missing is, well, Seasons for The Sims 4 is kind of missing, is that like they didn't even include snow depth. That's how little I remember there actually being anything you can do to interact with the weather itself. As in, like, you know, specific interactions for Sims to do in particular seasons. Other than, like, going skating, I think. Alright, free time is kind of in its own category because, like, its closest analog was Ambitions. But in a lot of ways, Ambitions is, you know, free time can go in here. Just place that right there. Then I guess cities. Honestly, they're both kind of the same. I would say Apartment Life actually is slightly better because it's the main one that really has much in the way of customization for apartments. And then Islands. I hardly care because I don't really care that much about like generic tropical island. Like both have the exact same. Like both have the exact same aim occult, even just executed differently. I guess you could say that Into the Future and Eco Lifestyle both have the concept of like choice matter theoretically. which from what I've seen, Into the Future lets you do a bigger impact. Because, like, Eco Lifestyle, it's entirely just, oh, you have X number of this item on the lots in this neighborhood. So that means that that area has like this level of pollution. Also got this rather crusty he Sims 3 traits tier list. Alright, so let's start with the, alphabetical. No, so we're starting with absent-minded. Eh. Adventurous doesn't really do all that much, I don't think. Like, the main thing I remember it specifically doing is that, oh, when a sim is in, like, a tomb, they get specifically the on an adventure moodlet. Which is, like, I think that's got some decent perks. Angler, hardly use Angler, like, Season 2 of The Random Legacy is gonna be my first time really delving into fishing. Artistic, put that up there mostly just because I'm a little biased towards having, like, creative sims. Athletic, again, like, putting that there mostly out of personal bias. Honestly, I feel like a lot of ways avant-garde doesn't really do enough different from snob and artistic. Bookworm again, little bit of personal bias showing. Born salesperson. Eh, hardly actually used the trait. Bot fan. It's all right. Like has some novel interactions, like going robot mode. Brave. Brave has a solid amount of like effects. Brooding. Hmm. I mean, most of it is just. I mean, just for Katrina's sake. And you can put that out there. Can't stand art. I think it's like a penalty to artistic skills and negative moodlet when around nice decorations. So like, yeah. Like, I mean, I guess it provides a nice counterbalance to artistic. Right, charismatic. I'm never entirely sure what the distinction is supposed to be between that and friendly. Because like I think friendly I think charismatic is just yeah, I'm gonna put both charismatic and friendly up there because I think friendly is you know, let's see what the distinction is. Alright, charismatic. 25% bonus lifetime relationship gain. Okay, so there is like there is enough of a distinction for them to justify them both existing. I'm kind of on childish. Clumsy is mostly just specific animations. And I think commitment issues. That can be a fun one. Here was again showing my bias towards skills that make it easier to use game mechanics I actually use. Couch potato. Honestly, I hardly see much of a difference half the time. Coward. Daredevil can be fun. As can disciplined. I pretty much never use can't stand children because like all of my every sim family I have is gonna have kids at some point. I'm pretty much because it's mostly in The Sims 2 where I really let families just kind of peter out. Because I play The Sims 2 rotationally. So if one family peters out, the town itself keeps going. Whereas in The Sims 3, if the family dies out, then there goes my main reason for playing the save. Although I guess, if I'm leaning enough into it, then it would just be that particular branch of the family dying out. I could switch over to cousins or something, if there are any around. Right, Diva. That can be fun. But at the same time, why do both Diva and Dramatic have to exist? Let's see. Oh, I mean, they do get I got some stuff in common with snobs. At least thematically. Yeah, I'd say Diva and Dramatic are different enough. Easily impressed, like I've hardly noticed like a particular like benefit like effect of being easily impressed. Centric. Love it, but not exactly life changing because it's just like an increase to he's on the inventing skill. Right, eco-friendly. Kinda like it's nice that it adds like a fair bit of characterization to Sims that have it. Evil. Can certainly be fun. Excitable. Honestly, it's mostly just the one moodlet. Family oriented. I've used this one a fair bit because again, I mostly play continuous family lines. Legacy. He's flirty. I've also used that one a fair bit. Frugal. Not as don't use that one as quite as often as the others. Gather is good theoretically, but I also have hardly used it. Genius is just plain good. Because isn't it just like oh well, I mean it is just logic. As well as some other varied stuff like a bonus to write Sims writing in the mystery genre. I didn't even know that was a feature of the genius trait, but I guess it makes sense for the same reason that he performed better in law enforcement. Right, good. Honestly, in some ways, it's kind of more fun to play an evil sim than a good one, because good mostly just unlocks. Oh, you can donate to charity, and like your sim isn't going to be actively mean, completely on their own volition. Good sense of humor. I've used that one a fair bit. Good kisser. Honestly, like why make that distinct from flirty and irresistible? Right, green thumb. Yeah, I've used gardening enough to care about green thumb. Same with handy. Grumpy, it's mostly, an occasional moodlet and like a decreased mood overall. Well, dislikes the hates the outdoors. I mean, honestly, there's a fair bit of overlap conceptually with Couch Potato when you think about it. But I mean, it has its place. Heavy sleeper. Honestly, half the time I don't really notice its gameplay effect. Right, Hopeless Romantic. I've played a fair number of Hopeless Romantics. Hot-headed. Hot-headed can be fun. Hydrophobic. Honestly, my Sims don't really specifically go in the water often enough for it to matter. Like, I mean, it matters with the Simbots in Ambitions, but like, honestly, why didn't they just include the features of hydrophobic in the Simbot hidden trait? Because then you would have a full 5 slots to have Simbots have, all the same trade options as a regular Sim. Inappropriate. Inappropriate can be fun. Insane. Mostly putting it down here because, like, vaguely stereotypy. Like, just having a blanket insane trait as, like, pretty much all the explicit mental illness representation in the entire game, other than, like, some specific, like moodlets. Right, Irresistible. Honestly, kind of hate it because of the way irresistible Sims can end up getting swarmed. Kleptomaniac. Gameplay is good enough to make up for its stereotypiness. Late sleeper. Honestly, it can kind of go in with heavy sleeper, honestly. Loner. I've played a fair number of loners. There's Loser. Only when it's funny. Like, if I want to have a Sim that's gonna die a lot, then it's it can be especially comedic because, like, every time a loser Sim dies he's from anything other than old age, Grimm's just like, you're too funny for me to let you die. I'm gonna let you keep suffering. Loves the cold and loves the heat. Honestly, why? Like, why have an entire trait for that? Loves the outdoors. Also, I use it more than hates the outdoors. Probably because, like, I tend to make more outdoorsy Sims than very explicitly indoorsy Sims that are also not explicitly lazy. Right? Loves to swim. Honestly, again, I honestly hardly do anything with the water. And we're lucky. Yeah, that's pretty good. And mean-spirited. In a lot of ways, it's kind of like, elements of certain other traits, but it's distinct enough that, it has a place to exist. Right, mooch. I can see some of its utility, but, like, I honestly not, like, a major fan. And star quality, I think is what's called. It's natural born performer. Yeah, sure, it's nice to have just like a buff to a particular career. Or natural cook. Yeah, that's quite useful. Neat as well. Especially since this is The Sims 3, not The Sims 4, where the neat trait is, last I saw, horrifically broken, causing neat Sims to get into a continuous loop of, like, polishing things. Things neurotic. Honestly, can be useful, like, in certain situations, but, like, not one of my go-tos. Never nude. I have literally never chosen that trait. Night Owl. Yeah, it does enough. Same with no sense of humor. Nurturing, honestly... Like, let's see what nurturing does exactly. Gotta locate nurturing first. There we go, nurturing. Yeah, I guess it's got enough to make it distinct from Like, family oriented. Actually, let's see what all family oriented has. One thing I am noticing is that this doesn't have all the traits. Because, like, there's no dog person here, or for instance. Yeah, honestly, one of the big things that distinguishes them is the stuff about scolding with nurturing. So I'm gonna say it's mid. Right, over emotional. Can be entertaining, I guess. I've had a fair number of party animals. Receptive. You know, I've enjoyed the investigator career for quite a bit. Yeah, from time to time. Perfectionist. I'd say like, does it actually? Yeah, the increase in quality is good enough. Uh, photographer's eye, pretty much never used it. Rebellious, really wish it did more because, like, I feel like it kind of loses most of its usefulness past teen. I mean, because, like, you know, a lot of it revolves around, like, playing pranks, and you don't get to do pranks anymore past the teen stage. Proper. Has some neat interactions, mostly held back by the need to be constantly informal, where causing Sims to have to interrupt things to formalize. But honestly, they can also be kind of funny, so it at least gets to be up there. I have not really been organizing the tiers in any specific arrangement up until now. Sailor. Honestly, don't really do much with boats. Savvy sculptor. Honestly, same deal. Like I hardly do anything with sculpting, but at least it's an artistic endeavor. So like I've used it more than Sailor. I guess the sea just does not call to me. You know, it's the continued. It's a continuation of not being huge on generic tropical island. Like, you know, that's one of the reasons why. That's honestly one of the reasons why I'm sticking with Moonlight Falls as the town for season 2. That, and also I'm pretty sure I would have to enable World Adventures to be able to not have everybody back home just vanish out of existence. If I wanted to move the air to new I Love Paradiso. Which honestly, also, let me just add, one of the dumbest names ever to be used for a Sims town. Like, really? You're just gonna translate the name of the expansion into, like, Spanish? And, and call it a day? As far as the name of the town? Like, you could have at least... Like, you could have at least gone into, like, the history of why people first started settling on this island, other than, like, I guess fitting a vague, generic image of paradise. He's quote unquote. Because, like, a lot of like Spanish colonized places are named for specific qualities, like, Costa Rica, rich coast. This is French and not, this is, I think, French and not Spanish, but still, the same logic still applies. Côte d'Ivoire, or, like, I think that's, like, Ivory Coast. So, again, like, a lot of it's just never been huge on tropical islands. Like, I've never had, like, an undying urge to go to Hawaii. Which, from what I hear, there are some people that would thank me for that. Because, like, that means I'm not gonna be yet another lousy tourist. Alright, Schmoozer. Yeah, it certainly has its place. Shy. Distinct enough from Loner to be useful. Slob. Yeah, certainly. Arnelic. I guess Socially Awkward has, like, enough to distinguish it from Shy and Loner. Snob. Yeah, I've played for a number of snobs, like Quentin's a snob. Social Butterfly. Like, it's mostly just a combination of party animal and either charismatic or friendly. What's this one called? Star Quality. It's already way too easy to become famous, as I've mentioned previously. The Supernatural fan. Yeah, I enjoy both. Like, these definitely have, like, a niche their place in the game. Technophobe. Eh. And flirty. I mean, I hardly actually use it. But it's neat. Yeah, I'll even put up into sweet. Unlucky. I'm going to go so far as even put it right next to loser because it's fun for the same reason. Right. Unstable. Questionable messages about mental illness aside, love it because mechanically it's so extremely different from all of the other traits. Vegetarian. That mostly just means that Sims have to cook for themselves rather than. Like, actually, I think non-vegetarians might even be able to make the. I think you can at least have Sims buy vegetarian versions of foods. So, kind of a. We're just looking go up there. I'd say workaholic. It can be useful. Vehicle enthusiast. Honestly, it can be fun. Hmm. Alright, so let's get another, like, 20 minutes. Let's see if the poll is done yet. 1 hour left, okay. Tony's. Oh, this is Tony's from varying games. Oh. I thought it was gonna be specifically Sims 1. Which honestly, some of these are hardly townies because, like, it's always been my understanding that, like, townie is specifically like generic Sims that don't have a house but are also not like pre-made for a specific role. Like, you wouldn't call the Grim Reaper a townie because he plays a very specific role to the point that in The Sims 2, if you mess with him, he can break your game. Because it was just the one Grim Reaper for the entire your entire installation of the game. Sims 3 Sims ranked by hotness. Oh, we've got some interesting choices, that's for sure. But I mean, most of these are men. And like literally part of why like so often, like I think part of why so often like I end up playing, like if I'm playing a female sim, she ends up being some form of sapphic, is because I don't really know what makes a good looking man. And so like I don't know what particular Sims to send like a straight female sim to go and like talk to as a potential, partner or a lot of the time. So I kind of have to go by like the attraction system such as it exists between the Sims itself. That's another thing, is that like he I will admit, like the Sims 4 has some great mods. Like I would love to have like a an attraction system that's as in depth as Wicked Whims / Wonderful Whims. And it was for The Sims 3, which from what I've seen, there's like rumblings of Nira's working on something like that. So I mean, that's another thing that could be added into like my ideal Sims game, is just like have an in-depth attraction system. Let's do woohoo locations. Alright, so let's see, we've got the Vibromatic Love Bed. Yeah, just because it's a classic. Three of these first 5 are just variations on hot tubs. So, yeah, they can just kind of all go and be, because like I guess there's dampness involved regardless, because sweat and other bodily fluids. So like, I get, I'm kind of out of my depth, like trying to be like, would banging in a hot tub be comfortable? Because it certainly wouldn't be comfortable for me, for reasons that have nothing to do with the hot tub. it's like honestly it could go either way because like on the one hand you're gonna be wet the entire time. But at the same time, like you know it's like warm bath kind of wet and not I guess if you go too long then you start to prune. So there is that. But I mean, hey, maybe some people are into the wrinkly fingers look. Yeah, like the feeling that caressing your most intimate of skin. Alright, so that's a Star trailer. I mean, it might as well go in the same spot as, like, a bed. Because presumably you've got a bed in there that you're, doing the deed in. In fact, you know what? I'm gonna add just sort of a row of that's just a building. So like which I'm not even entirely sure what that's supposed to be. Is that like is that maybe something from cottage living? Used for like livestock? Alright, so I'm gonna say that beds can just other than the classic vibromatic heart bed can kind of the time machine is in a way kind of just a building, but it's special because you're going because you get to do it in an exotic locale. Murphy beds get to be down in sea because of the threat that comes with a Murphy bed. But I mean, hey, maybe some people are into, doing it in a potential death trap. adding more specificity because, like, you know, there are there are other buildings here. I I believe that's. I believe this is a. This is like a little dress it like a little stall for trying stuff on. Having just the curtain doesn't give much privacy, but also isn't that the point? I'm so out of my depth. Like why did I do woohoo locations tier list? I'm just gonna put those in A for adventurous. Like our car. I've never been in a car that had upholstery that felt like it would be like super good on the most intimate skin. So like I'm gonna put it in D, which this thing's almost certainly got like genuine leather seats. So like good for people that are into leather, I guess. Right, elevators. They can kind of go with. They can kind of go with these various stalls in the sense of it, lack of privacy, and also like there's a set time limit because once it arrives to whatever floor you set it to arrive at, those doors are opening whether you're ready or not. Helicopter kind of falls into the same category as car, only I guess maybe slightly different because like you're going up in the air, I guess. Right, igloo. Discomfort from it being snow is presumably offset by it being warm. So I'm gonna put it alongside a hot tub. I'm gonna put hot air. I'm gonna put helicopter here. I might as well put hot air balloon there too. Actually, no. I'm gonna say it goes down one because pretty sure most hot air balloons don't have like comfortable seating. Being all-in-one bathroom. That's almost... Like, that is almost... just a building that probably has a bed in it here. Just for showers this time. From what I've heard, like doing it in a shower is actually rather uncomfortable because, like, you're, like, upright the entire time. Like, you know, there's a reason why beds tend to be kind of the default. So based on that, I'm gonna put those below hot tubs because, like, you've got all the potential, both pros and cons of, you know, water, you know, warm water, but also you're upright the entire time, and from what I hear, that's a downside. I'm gonna put the cave above hot tubs because, like, sure, it's once again wet, but, like, for one thing, most of your body is gonna be protected from the wet, otherwise you're drowning. And which, I mean, how does that even work? Because like there's a lot of pressurization that happens with scuba diving. You're really gonna, like, unzip and depressurize your cock? Which, I guess, really, are you even depressurizing it, or are you just exposing it directly to the full pressure of the wave of the ocean? But you know what? At that point, it deserves to be an A because it's funny. Jetpack. You know what? Also funny because, like, just like the mental image of some poor bystander looking up and it's like, holy shit, those guys are fucking. Like, those people are up there fucking on their, well, flying around with their, on their jetpacks. Sort of like, I think it was dragonflies that one time, like, it even, like, landed on my head in the middle of, you know, the act. I guess really, you know, could bring it closer to Murphy bed because of the danger element, but then I would have to drag you know, the underwater cave down too. So yeah, it gets to be up there because it's funny. I feel like Zephyr's kind of in the same spot as a car. Although it is in the air. And it's futuristic public transportation, so maybe it actually has comfortable seating. Like, you know, some kind of, like, he some kind of like futuristic material that is like so comfortable on your junk that it's almost like somebody somewhere thought of this. Robot Workshop sounds absolutely awful because like there's a lot of metal and machinery in there. Kind of the same thing with the treehouse because like the game even explicitly jokes about splinters. Alright, so gonna sort of rapid fire add in like alright, the question is, does the absence of water make the uprightness is better or worse? I guess it depends on whether the water is a pro or a con. Okay, and here, that's basically just a bed. That's basically just a shower. Sauna is probably gonna be worse just in general because one, wooden seating, two, like you're specifically there to sweat. That can go. That can go in same tier as hot tubs, although you've got varying temperature, and I think this thing can sometimes have fish. So Bert, if it's got fish, it can go up to A for being funny because there's a whole bit from Crusader Kings about doing some dirty stuff with fish. Hay it sounds like it would get absolutely everywhere. Caravan is right in there with the trailers and being basically just a building with a bed in it. It's somewhere. Dumpster, you're literally in garbage. These are also going to get everywhere. Tent, I'm going to put just below bed because, like, I've never really found a sleeping bag that would be super comfortable on my most sensitive skin either. Probably more comfortable than car upholstery, but a lot of sleeping bags are just kinda, the same kinda in a texture as a tent itself. Like, I guess if it's a nice enough sleeping bag, then... Alright, and I'm just gonna kind of put all of the ones that are specifically upright in the same category here. Alright, so we've got the cave from Snowy Escape specifically. Alright, bats... That's kinda... Honestly, in some ways, it's kind of less funny than it... Nah, I'd say that's on par with Jetpack. Like, the main distinction is that, like, you don't... that an onlooker's not gonna know that that's people. Right. Haunted house, you could theoretically find a bed-like location somewhere in there. I think the lighthouse might actually have a bed in there. Well, I think it's vaguely implied that, you know, Sims do it towards, like, the top. Alright, coffins are usually padded, so I'd say that's more or less on par with a bed. Like, give or take points depending on how, you know, any like necrophilia kind of stuff that might apply. But like from a purely functional standpoint, that's basically a bed. A bush. It doesn't get everywhere as easily as leaves or hay, but there's probably gonna be like bugs and whatnot. Tunnel of Love. I can't imagine the seating is all that comfortable. But at the same time, like, I'd say it gets like bonus points for being thematically appropriate. The little observatory building. That seems like it could actually qualify as being upright. So... Rocket Ship gets to be A tier for being funny. Specifically because most of them have been bam bitch about how when you nut it pushes you backwards. Because like you are going to space. They used to bang. Could be thematically appropriate to an almost stereotypical degree if you're doing it with an alien. I cannot imagine the Ferris wheel is comfortable. Because, like, I feel like those are hard plastic or wood. Again, the cave from Snowy Escape. If it has the same effects as the igloo, I'd say gets to be in the same tier as the igloo. Alright, finally, the vault. I mean, money is kind of cloth-like, so I'm gonna say that as much as it would also get everywhere, probably not as bad as an experience as having as it would be having hay or dead leaves or bugs in your most or literal garbage all up in your most intimate areas. Alright, so there is still time in the poll left, but I'm actually gonna call it because, like, just so that I can, sort of announce the winner essentially tonight, rather than having to, like, do that solely on Twitter. And looks like Christina is the winner, unless sometime in the next less than an hour we get some votes for someone else. But as of right now, I'm gonna call it here. Apparently never actually put song requests on this scene. So thank you to everyone who stopped by here tonight. Next Tuesday stream is going to be the next part of Snowbound Blood, as it's 10:25, and the next month Tuesdays will be switching over to whatever ends up being sort of the interim between seasons of The Sims 3. I'm thinking either Sims 2, some Wildermyth, or this other game, similar game that I found through a YouTube video called Old Low Magic Age. That's like a more direct sort of conversion of the rules of D&D 3.5, or to a degree Pathfinder First Edition, to like a video game format. Or I've also been toying around with this idea of doing Minecraft, but we add continually more mods in each stream. So maybe I should do a poll for that at some point. But I should also, get an idea, like, are all of them equally viable? Because, if there's just like one that specifically jumps out to me as, yes, this is the thing to do, then I might as well just do that one. rather than worrying about a poll. But for now, let me see if I can find somebody to raid. Oh, for once, the Sims 3 category is actually just completely desolate. Got like one person doing Sims 2. Now, let's see if anyone's doing just... Seems like there's a couple people in in just the original Sims category. And of course, the Sims 4 category is going to be like chock full of people. Oh, actually, not as full as I expected. And, let's... Oh, actually, I think it might just be that... Apparently, like, the list of people in the category just kind of cuts off after a certain point. Now, this person seems to be doing an interesting scenario in The Sims 4. Let's give them a raid. So once again, thank you to everyone who stopped by. Next Tuesday's stream is going to be Snowbound Blood, since it's 10:25. Next stream in general is planned for... Well, next stream in general actually is going to be next Tuesday's stream, because I've got a convention all weekend, and I need to be able to get up bright and early Friday morning. So, like, it can't be up super late, 8 streaming Thursday night. Hey, maybe I could pull off something on Saturday night, because I don't think I have to be anywhere like super early Sunday morning. But I'll see how things turn out.